America, the land of opportunity, home of the free, a beacon of hope for generations seeking a better life. This is the narrative we've been fed for decades, yet, scratch beneath the surface of this gleaming facade, and a different picture emerges. The American economy, on paper, looks robust. Unemployment is low, the GDP is climbing, stock markets reach record highs. But these figures tell only half the story. They mask a deeper, more troubling reality. Millions of Americans feel left behind, trapped in a cycle of financial insecurity. The disconnect between the rosy economic indicators and the lived experiences of ordinary Americans is stark. It's a paradox that demands our attention. How can the economy be booming while so many struggle to make ends meet? It's time to pull back the curtain and examine the factors driving this economic paradox. Let's delve into the realities that statistics often fail to capture. One of the most significant contributors to this economic divide is the staggering concentration of wealth at the very top. Over the past few decades, the gap between the rich and the poor has widened dramatically, creating a chasm that seems almost insurmountable. This concentration of wealth is not just a statistic, it represents real lives and real struggles. The richest 1% of Americans now hold a disproportionate share of the nation's wealth, amassing fortunes that are often beyond comprehension. This elite group has seen their wealth grow exponentially, while the majority of Americans have experienced stagnation or even decline in their financial well-being, leaving the bottom 50% with a shrinking slice of the pie. This means that half of the population is left to divide a smaller and smaller portion of the nation's resources, making it increasingly difficult to make ends meet. This disparity has far-reaching consequences. It affects everything from the quality of education and healthcare to the stability of communities and the overall health of the economy. When so much wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, it creates a ripple effect throughout the economy. Small businesses struggle to survive, and workers are forced to take on multiple jobs just to stay afloat. The bottom 50%, struggling with stagnant wages and rising costs, have less disposable income. This lack of financial flexibility means they are unable to invest in their futures, whether through education, homeownership, or retirement savings. This, in turn, translates to lower consumer spending, which can stifle economic growth. When people have less money to spend, businesses suffer, leading to a vicious cycle of economic decline. Furthermore, this wealth gap fuels a sense of unfairness and resentment. People feel that the system is rigged against them, leading to social unrest and a breakdown in community cohesion. It creates a system where opportunities for upward mobility become increasingly limited. Education and job opportunities, which were once seen as pathways to a better life, are now out of reach for many. The American dream, once a promise of prosperity through hard work, begins to feel like an elusive fantasy for many. The idea that anyone can achieve success through determination and effort is being eroded by the harsh realities of economic inequality. This concentration of wealth is not just a moral issue, it's an economic one. It affects the very fabric of our society, influencing everything from innovation and entrepreneurship to social mobility and public trust. Addressing this imbalance is crucial to creating a more equitable and prosperous society for all Americans. By implementing policies that promote fair wealth distribution, we can ensure that everyone has a chance to succeed and thrive. While wages for many Americans have stagnated, the cost of living has relentlessly climbed, creating a widening gap between income and expenses. This disparity is felt across various sectors and demographics, affecting both urban and rural communities alike. The rising costs are not limited to just one aspect of life. Housing, healthcare, and education, the cornerstones of a stable life, have become increasingly unaffordable for the average American. This has led to a situation where even basic necessities are becoming out of reach for many. The housing crisis, particularly in urban areas, has reached a fever pitch. Rent and home prices continue to skyrocket, forcing families to make impossible choices between putting a roof over their heads and putting food on the table. This has led to overcrowded living conditions and increased homelessness. Many are now living in smaller, more cramped spaces, and some are even forced to move in with relatives or friends to make ends meet. Healthcare costs, already the highest in the developed world, continue their upward trajectory, pushing families with even minor health issues into crippling debt. The burden of medical expenses is a significant stressor, often leading to difficult decisions about whether to seek necessary care. A single illness can wipe out a lifetime of savings, leaving individuals financially devastated. And then there's education. The cost of college has become an insurmountable barrier for many aspiring students, saddling them with crippling debt before they even enter the workforce. This debt can take decades to pay off, affecting their ability to buy homes, start families, and save for the future. This effectively shuts out a significant portion of the population from higher education and limits their future earning potential. Without a degree, many find themselves stuck in low-paying jobs with little opportunity for advancement. These rising costs, coupled with stagnant wages, create a perfect storm for financial insecurity. Many Americans are now working multiple jobs just to make ends meet, sacrificing their health and well-being in the process. It's no wonder that many Americans feel like they're running on a treadmill, working harder and harder just to stay in the same place. The crushing weight of rising living costs is a burden that many are struggling to bear, and without significant changes, the situation is unlikely to improve. The nature of work in America is changing, and not necessarily for the better. The landscape of employment is undergoing a seismic shift, and the middle class is feeling the brunt of this transformation. Automation and globalization, while touted for their potential to boost productivity and efficiency, have had a devastating impact on middle-class jobs. The promise of a more efficient world has come at a significant cost to many workers. Manufacturing jobs, once the bedrock of the American middle class, have been outsourced overseas or replaced by robots and automation. These jobs provided not just income, but a sense of purpose and stability for millions of families. This has left many blue-collar workers unemployed or forced to take lower-paying service sector jobs. The transition from manufacturing to service jobs often means a significant pay cut and loss of benefits. Globalization, while connecting the world in unprecedented ways, has also intensified competition for jobs and driven down wages. Companies seek the cheapest labor, often at the expense of local workers. American workers now find themselves competing with a global workforce willing to work for a fraction of the cost. This global competition has put immense pressure on wages and job security. The result? A shrinking middle class, once the backbone of the American economy. The decline of this vital economic segment has far-reaching consequences. This erosion of the middle class has profound implications for social stability and economic growth. As more families struggle to make ends meet, the ripple effects are felt throughout the entire economy. A strong middle class is essential for a thriving economy, as it provides a stable consumer base and a source of skilled labor. Without a robust middle class, economic growth becomes unsustainable. As automation and globalization continue to reshape the workforce, it's crucial to invest in retraining and education programs to equip workers with the skills needed for the jobs of the future. By doing so, we can help ensure that the middle class not only survives but thrives in this new economic landscape.